Evelyn Lauder asked me to join this campaign when I first started working for the Estée Lauder companies, which was in the mid-90s. And when she told me what she was doing, she said, I want to form this breast cancer campaign because women all over the world are dying and nobody's talking about it. And I want to change that. And as soon as she said that, it just struck home because my grandmother had very recently died of breast cancer and nobody talked about it.
Yeah.
You know, this was before the pink ribbon, before Breast Cancer Awareness Month, before you and I would be sitting here in pink talking about breast cancer publicly. And because my grandmother died and we didn't talk about it, I just thought, yeah, you're right, there's a change has to happen. And it has. I mean, it's a very different world today in so many ways than it was 26 years ago when I started. You know, not only is the awareness so much higher, but, you know, treatments are so much better, diagnosis is so much better, but women are still dying, and 1 in 8 women will still be diagnosed with breast cancer in their lifetime. So, you know, the fight is so far not over.
And so 27 years ago, when your grandmother died of breast cancer and didn't tell you, didn't tell members of the family, why do you think that was?
Well, apparently, not that she told me herself, she found her own lump and was horrified and scared and embarrassed and didn't go to the doctor for more than a year.
Gosh.
So she sat on it worrying, and of course when she finally went, it was a very late stage tumour. So even though she didn't tell me any of this, and it's only by little snippets that one's gleaned, she had a double mastectomy, but it was too late. It had spread and she didn't make it. But none of us knew. None of us discussed her treatment options. None of us went to the doctor with her. None of us went to her chemotherapy. Nobody did anything because nobody knew, and she didn't want anyone to know, and it was all just, don't mention cancer in front of grandma.
The big C at that time, wasn't it?
It really was
Nobody
a different world. And, you know, it's heartbreaking, really, to know that that happened. And heartbreaking still if the message hasn't got through to people yet that breast cancer can be very curable if found early.
And yet women are still dying of breast cancer. And I think also the pandemic meant that perhaps a lot of women didn't get checked or couldn't see a doctor even if they wanted to. And I wonder what message we can give to women out there, and men actually, because men of course get breast cancer as well.
They do.
About how they can help themselves.
From a breast cancer point of view, it's taking up your mammogram invitations and having them regularly. And, you know, doctors and research scientists really believe in self-checking too. They really believe that every woman from puberty onwards should check their own breasts once a month. So to that end, you know, it's been suggested that perhaps we put an alarm in our phones once a month, maybe pick the first of the month every month, because also what I've been told is that because women's breasts fluctuate during the month because of the various hormonal changes, it's important to pick a date and stick to it. We actually are doing a really big virtual self-check on the 20th of October with Dr. Zoe Williams, and she'll be demonstrating, obviously cameras off for everybody but Dr. Zoe, and she'll be demonstrating and really teaching how to self-check, and she'll probably say to do it in the mirror, because she says one of the most important things is to observe and look at your breasts, see if you can see any changes by eye, and then she'll teach how to self-check the armpits, the ribs, all around the breasts, and really encourage women to do it once a month.
And do you do that?
I do.
When do you have a time and a place? And
I do the first of the month because
Okay.
it's an easier one to remember, and I've got an alarm on my phone, and I check. Listen, I happen to check my own when I'm watching Netflix sometimes because it's so part of my world that it's something that's on my mind more than others. That's really why Evelyn Lauder created the pink ribbon, to keep it in people's minds. You know, I think that the alarm in your phone is a pretty good one. It's
a pretty good idea actually, and I don't do that, and I think that's something that I'm going to start doing as well. Even though I've had breast cancer, you know, it is important for all of us to keep checking. And I think you're right. I think it's not also about necessarily a lump, although a lump can be indicative of something going wrong. It's about your breasts looking or feeling different.
That's what Dr. Zoe said. Yeah, she said sometimes you'll just think that looks different.
Yeah.
Nipples can look different. Apparently skin puckering can also be an indication. So yeah, I think you're right, it's not just a lump. Last October, I put a post on my Instagram about reminding women to self-check, and a couple of just my girlfriends saw my post on Instagram. They checked their own breasts that day. 2 of them found lumps.
Did they?
Young girls.
How are
in
they?
their 40s. They both went to their doctors. They were both diagnosed with cancer. They did indeed have tumours. They were both treated and they're both okay.
You see, that's the thing. Both mums. That's the thing. You catch it early, it is absolutely treatable. I'm one of those examples. Catch it early, get it sorted if you can.
Did you
Very,
find
very
your own
lucky.
lump?
Well, it was a lump, but the lump was actually benign, which is common with many lumps in our breasts are benign. So it wasn't that lump, it was something else. There was something a little bit deeper. But I think catching it early and doing something about it, and I had a double mastectomy, meant that I'm okay now, I'm here now. But I'm in that age group, you know, I was around 50, but there are much younger women, of course. Sarah Harding, who died at 39, who may get cancer.
And a lot younger. I've met a lot of women in their 20s who've been diagnosed.
Because actually, it can strike at any age. And cancer is one of these things, it doesn't discriminate, does it?
It doesn't matter at all. It doesn't matter your background, nothing matters. Yeah, it doesn't discriminate. None of us wants to be told there's something wrong with us. So I think that makes people a little nervy, a bit, you know, putting your head in the sand. But I think always furnishing yourself with the knowledge that if a breast cancer is found early, there's an extremely good chance it could be treated well. Just having that in mind, it's not a death sentence to be diagnosed with breast cancer. More women, you know, we need to know that and understand it. But are we nervous? Of course we're nervous to go and have a mammogram. Do we feel every time we touch our breast, Christ, I might find something? Of course we do. It's completely natural. So we just have to keep saying, but if I do, it's going to be early because I check every month. And that really has to be our mantra, I guess.
Elizabeth, thanks so much.
Thank you.